Hello, welcome pen friends. Today I'd really just like to open up a discussion about filling hacks or items that are useful in filling your fountain pen, especially when you're dealing with a sample. You know, a 2 ml sample, let's say. That has been a very challenging thing for me over the years. So to lay the groundwork here, I just want to say that I was recently introduced to 2 new to me techniques. One involving the rubber grommets, which was from Brandon Lee on YouTube. He has a channel, and I will link his video. It was Ramona Firehorse from Instagram who sent me over to see his video, and I'm very grateful because that's when I learned about these little grommets that you could fit inside of a ink vial and fill your pen right to the last drop of your ink. And there's 2 different sizes, and we'll talk about that. And then a viewer of my channel, and I cannot pronounce this, but this is the viewer's tag name, and maybe I've overlooked a name somewhere, because a lot of times people sign and I just kind of, I don't realize till it's been long enough, oh, that's you know, the name associated, told me about using PVC tubing, 8mm, and I went off on my own little search to try this. And so I've got a lot to say about those 2 techniques, the rubber grommets and the tubing. So that's why all this display here, because it's kind of interesting. I'm gathering momentum here, so stick with me if you can. But the first question we have to ask is, why do we need all of this? Well, if you've got an ink bottle, you know, if you've got a full bottle and you're filling from that, or you have enough to put in your sample vial so you can have enough, then you're good. You don't need any kind of ink hack. But a lot of us are what I would call serial ink samplers. We want to try all the new colors. It's a way that we can enjoy color, which is a big part of the hobby for many of us. And so if you're an ink sampler like I am, and you just sample, I also have quite a few ink bottles. I'm not going to try to fool you there. You already know me. But so if you've got the bottle, you probably don't need to worry about it. But if you're a sampler, there's some things that you probably could really use. Now, let's talk about the first 2 that I've used all this time, you know, a long time. And we won't stick with that. We'll just mention it because there's very few things that the ink syringe, and this is an ink syringe from, I think I got this from Goulet pens. This will do so much because it has the blunt tip, and you can fill your cartridge converter pens. You can do so much, moving ink where you want it, and then you wash it out and you reuse them over and over till the numbers wear right off. I had to look in my stuff to find an ink syringe that wasn't already worn out. So, but we're not gonna, this isn't a video about an ink syringe, okay? So we're gonna put that aside. I recommend it. I hope you have one if you're in the hobby, because it's just almost indispensable unless you're just using cartridges. But even if you're doing that, you can refill cartridges too. If it's a pen that only takes cartridges, you may need it. Then this is the other, mine is stained, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's got a stain down in the bottom. This is called an ink miser. And I think it's around $6 or $5. And it helps you quite a bit because you end up putting your ink into there, and then you get a better, you can work with it really easily. You can fill your pen if you've got enough ink. But I have run into not having enough ink where this would work fully with like a number 6 nib. These are the smaller number 5, the Eco, TWSBI Eco. But with a larger nib, I've even found where, oh, okay, not quite. So if it's and it's normally a cartridge converter pen, so I can use my ink syringe. But the one problem, and why we're even here today, basically, let's move the ink miser away, because that's not about ink miser today either. The one problem that I have up until now not been able to solve to my satisfaction was when I have a 2 ml sample or less, you know, because a lot of times I'll end up with 1.5 or 1 ml even, and I really want it in my TWSBI Eco. I want to use the last, up to the last drop. I don't have the patience for eyedropping or dropping a drop at a time onto the feed, and there are things you can do. I don't have that level of patience. So I was super excited when I learned about Brandon's trick here, and I went to Tractor Supply and found them for just a few, I don't know, $1.69 or something like that for 2. And I don't have my, well, let me grab my sheet that tells me what the inner and outer dimensions are. Okay, so this one here, it's a 5/8 outer diameter and 3/8 inner diameter that works with the TWSBI Eco. And then there's the other size, which Brandon displayed, you know, and showed working with other pens, which I thought was so cool. See, this one is a little bigger than this one. So if you got the smaller, maybe hooded nibs, but I'm going to send you over to his video. We're going to end up concentrating on the tubing because wow, did that ever work for me. Okay, so the other size then is the 5/8 outer diameter by 5/16 inner diameter. Now, I could only find that size here in Corpus Christi, Texas at Lowe's for $2.78 for 2. Still very inexpensive. The Tractor Supply, had they had it in stock, which I found this size in stock, it was $1.69 for 2. So very, very good. Okay. And still, this isn't going to be the focus of this video, but I do want to talk about it a little. What I found out when I tried this, and I love this, and this is a solution, but I found that I have so many different size ink vials that I was having trouble, and I don't know. Let me see if I got the patience to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here is one of the 3/8, and I just, it won't fit in all of my vials. And I don't think it's just me, although, okay, we can make that work. But I had vials where, and of course I was afraid I was going to rip it in half. I had vials where I just didn't feel like it was going to go on at all. Let me see. Let me try the blue one. If I kept better notes, I guess I would know, but yeah, I was afraid I was going to end up, oh, that's got water in it. Okay, so part of this funny story is that I spent quite a bit of time practicing all this with water, you know, so that I didn't give myself an ink bath. And what I ended up ultimately doing was creating my own little ink, what would they call that? Oh, words, the proper word always escapes me. Make your own ink. Well, thingy. Okay, let's use thingy until I can think of the right word. I'll probably think of it at some point. Inkwell. Okay, there we go, I think. So I've got these, and I know that I can use this because the main thing is I want to use up every drop. And with your piston fillers, the ink syringe isn't going to help you in this case. It will with a Diamond 580 because you can get the nib unit right off and use your syringe, no problem. I'm realizing that this is probably extending up a little bit beyond beginner and into intermediate. So I'm hoping I'm not losing anyone completely. I think though most of you are with me here, and I could probably break down and do a little bit simpler later. But I really wanted to get to this hack because after trying it myself to fill my TWSBI Eco, it was so incredibly great. It just worked so good. So I got this tubing at Lowe's for about $6. And of course I ended up with 10 feet of it, but I was just determined. I never ordered on the website that that this person mentioned, which I think it was AliExpress. It was somewhere that I'd never ordered from. You could get a lesser quantity of the tubing and you could save a lot of money, but I was just sort of like, I want to try this right now. And we were going over there for some part we needed. And I thought that over the years I will, you know, be able to share this with other people, because I certainly only needed like a 3 or 4 inch tubing. So, okay, this was inner diameter 3/8, outer diameter 1/2, 10 feet long, clear vinyl tubing. Huh, very interesting. It was sort of near the plumbing. I looked for it a little bit, but then I finally found it. So what we end up with is this. And what happens is, oh, I put 17 cents. Okay, at some point I did some math and found out that because I got so much of it, each piece of this size would cost approximately 17 cents. So that's one thing I thought of right away, was if you have a pen meeting or club, that would be perfect. You could, you know, you could buy a roll of this and everyone that came would have their own little piece of tubing. Okay, so let's go ahead and, so you just kind of push it on and dump the ink in this end. Literally, that's what you do. Only preparation, you would go ahead and put your piston up, ready to receive, you know, so that you can then close it and draw the ink in. So what I found was it was just incredibly simple, and I just fell in love with this. And then it just rinses out so easily. The one thing, and I've got some notes. I'm going to go ahead and get them, because you deserve to hear what I have found out, and my mind is too much of a skippity to remember it all. Okay, now I've got my little notes that I've been making in my 68 GSM Tomoe River ink journal, which we'll be going over when I do the progress report. Don't know where the words are. Okay, so what I found with this, I love it. And also, the first couple times I tried it, I jammed it on too far, thinking that, well, gee, I'm going to leak ink all over the place. Because, you know, I'm like that. So I played around with that water over and over and over, thinking, you know, gee, am I going to make a mess? But what I found is you want to just go a little ways. You don't have to cram it all the way down to the section, the end of the section. You just want it on there good, but you want to still be able to turn it gently to get it off, you know. But it fits really nicely and snugly, and I didn't have excess ink around that was any more than when I do a regular fill, when I did mine. So we're going to do it. Let's see. This was the purple, so I wanted that for this one. And then I think we're going to end up doing 2 of them. This is Scribbo, and it's a beautiful, like a maroon. And I think I've got 1.5 mils, and I'm determined to use this, and I think it would be really great. So I'm trying to decide though. I've got my red pen. Probably would be nice to have it in the red, huh? So get that one ready. Let's see, what else did I write down? I went to the trouble of getting the notebook. Okay, we're down here on the flexible tubing tip. Okay. Okay, so I wrote down Pro, easy. You can find the tubing really easy, cheap per unit, and even cheaper if you go to where he mentioned, or I'm assuming a he, I don't even know. And I'll try to look into that to see. I'm pretty sure I know where to find it. So I can link for you. Less cleanup. This thing, you run it under the water and like that and you're done. Okay, con. Okay, so I did have pros and cons. Careful not to over jam it, and I just mentioned that, or leave it too loose. But I didn't have massive leakage. With the water, I had just tiny seepage, not even enough to really bother me. And I didn't have it when I did the ink, so by then I was used to putting it on without leaving it too loose. And I don't think I have the right size. He mentioned 8mm, but I was in a yank to get what was available locally, so that's what I get. Careful not to over jam or leave too loose. Just practice. Okay, so that's pretty much, that was my conclusion, was, you know, get this and then practice with it. So let's just go ahead and do it. Make sure we have some paper towels on the ready, and we're going to put the red into the red and the purple into the purple. I'll have to go and rinse this out, so we'll get to try that too and see how that works. Okay, we've got the piston operated all the way up to the top like you would before you stick it into a ink bottle. That's what you do. And now we're going to put it on the end. And because I'm a chicken, I usually make sure I haven't over tightened it, so when it comes time to take it off, I'll be all right. Yeah. I think, you know, I've gotten it to where I'm putting it in not quite a ½ inch into this section. Okay. And then, literally, now this is the part that I kind of fussed over for the last couple days, wondering, how am I going to do this? Because it almost might be better in vertical, but if I can just show you, I mean, it's so cool. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just pour it in. I'm not a very good pourer, but there we go. We poured it in. So we got the ink in there. There's only one thing left to do, and that's draw it up into the, let me make sure you can see it. Draw it into the pen. Whoops, I'm going the wrong way. Okay, so we're going to go clockwise. And I just love this. This is so cool. Okay. Now it's not a full fill because that's what we have for ink. That's what we have. And, you know, we're going to have to make sure, because it could be a little messy, but when is it not messy when you fill a pen? I mean, to me, it's always somewhat. You got to be ready. Okay, so now we're going to take this off. Okay, and there's a little in there, so we might just kind of, it's really, you know, not bad. And like I said, if this was easy to do with a syringe for me, or, you know, if I had the patience, fine. But it isn't. So I'm going to, you know, I said let down to the last drop. Well, maybe not quite, but boy, that's good for a piston filler like this. That's, okay, so we always want to make sure that we, oh, that's interesting. It didn't quite, I would have expected a bigger blob there. And we will write with this because we need to log this in. Okay, so meanwhile, I will go in a second and rinse that out. But this is vital, because if I forget, I'll swear I'm going to remember what I've put in this. So this is TWSBI.
9 a.m.
I'm an early bird today, 9 a.m. Eco Red Transparent with a medium nib. And this is Scribble Rosso Cianiti. Okay, I love these Scribble inks. I just love them. And they come in this big, I'm going to pause for a second. They come in this like stackable, amazing bottle, but I ordered this bottle empty. I didn't, don't ask me why. I'm collecting ink bottles too. Empty ones. Okay. So date inked. This is 9/11. 9/11/22. Okay, and I'm super happy because I know that just doesn't go well in here or in the Ink Miser. You don't get as good of a fill. This is the best that I've gotten with that amount of ink into my TWSBI Eco. Okay, so there's one. I'm going to go and rinse, and I'll be right back. And I'm just going to rinse, and then I'll do the bumping and all that of the water when I come back, and we'll just see how it goes. Okay, here I am, and you can see it's all still quite, you know, wet from the sink. All I did was just run the water of the sink, you know, from the kitchen faucet. So now I'm not going to want, you know, just a ton of water in there. So I'm going to go ahead and dry it off. Whoops, now I made it foggy. Okay, so I wasn't actually thinking about filling several at a time, but I really don't believe there'd be any problem whatsoever. I don't see any ink residue, and he or she was right. You know, it just rinsed right out. It doesn't get balky or anything. So we're going to do one more, okay, which will be this is one I've wanted to use for quite some time. I wanted to finish Monteverde birthday cake, which I think came in an ink flight. And I've tried to see, it's at least, well, it could be closer to 2 mils, so we may have that same thing where we end up with a little bit still in the vial. You know, that's fine. When I get them down this low, they become ink splatter and art, and I have a little basket labeled art, so that, because I just can't stand a part with a drop of ink, it seems like. I like Wasky Squirrel said we should learn how to use our sinks, but oh, I forgot to plug in this darn thing. I hope I was screaming like I normally do, because, okay, I plugged it in again. I was checking to see if I actually pressed record again. Okay, what you see is what you get. Let's try this again. Okay. Okay, again, we're going to prepare the piston. Get it up in there. I must have had some stainy purple in here. And we're going to put it on just about that same way and kind of make sure that our... Yeah, I just want to do that because one time I did cram it on way too far and it was not comfortable. So you want to have a comfortable... okay, let's make a clean so we can see if we have any leaking. Okay, and the Monteverde birthday cake. I guess you can tell I'm really excited about this. I like it. Now if I can just be steady to get the ink in there. Okay. Probably is too much, so probably I have to, you know, we'll see. Make sure you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so go ahead and... Whoops, I always want to go the wrong way. That is not cool. I don't want to break it. And in goes the ink. Okay, pretty nifty. Okay, let's... So, no, you know... That was what I was worried about initially, was I thought I was going to end up having a bath, or my desk was going to have a bath. And it could happen, I suppose, but it seems the right size. And when you really think about it, we're dealing with the same inner diameter. It says so. It says 3/8 right on here. That's the reason I purchased it. I kept asking my husband, and he said, I don't know, dear. I don't know anything about, you know, pen diameters. Just buy it and try it. So I did. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do that little twisty. Take it off. Okay, and there's, you know, there's a little ink around there. I get that when I fill. Not bad, though. Okay. So we must do the proper cleaning around the rim and the feed and the, because we don't want ink blobbing, right? We learned that about TWSBIs right off. Ooh, this is exciting. Okay, but I'm excited because I'm going to be able to use all these leftover ink samples and tiny ink samples. I won't be as intimidated or weird about ordering just one sample, because if it's this pen that I'm going to want to write with the sample that I'm testing with the thought, do I want a bottle of this? Do I not? Then I don't want to be trying it in any other pen, because if this is the nib and experience that I'm going to want, and I know you know what I'm talking about if you're in the hobby any length of time at all, you want to get the ink into the pen that you're going to be, you expect to write with it the most. Okay, so again, maybe, I don't know, a drop and a half. That I might actually rinse, you know. The Scribble was a bigger sample. Okay, so I'll take that to the sink, but not right now. Right now, we're going to log in our color so that I don't forget. And this is TWSBI Eco. I'm thinking this was a lilac. I could be making that up. Medium with Monteverde birthday cake. A beautiful ink. Okay, 9, 11, 22. Okay, so we've done that. That's my third time to do it, and happy. I'm super thrilled. Thank you so much to Do you know who you are, who commented, I think it was on the community tab, this comment, and this has been in the works. I didn't take very long before I ran out to Lowe's, but then there's been such busyness around here that I haven't gotten to this video, but I wanted to because I even like it better than this hack because of my usage. If I was using a bunch of other pens that I wanted to fill from a tiny sample amount, the inkwell kind of way would be better, but it's always my TWSBI Ecos. So if you're like me, this may be the hack for you versus the little grommets. But I'm definitely gonna use these. I have, I guess I have like 3 of this size, but I've made my little inkwell kind of, in case the vial that I pick doesn't hold the little piece, that's all. So I'm trying to think. I want to go back into my notes real quick and see. And maybe we'll get a first name on the person who so generously gave me the idea and said that it was the best method that they had found. So, okay. So I'm not at all knocking this. This is great. And I know that this one will fit several of my pens. I don't want to be redundant, though. I'm going to just link you to his video. Brandon Lee did an awesome video. And Goulet Pens had gone ahead and put it in their Pencast, too, to send people over to that. And so I thought, gee, this idea here, this simple tubing that cleans up so easily and is the right, or this one anyway, they had all kinds of different inner diameter tubing and outer diameter tubing, you name it. I mean, you'd have to kind of have a better measurement of what exactly you wanted to do. But if you're doing TWSBI Eco, you're good with the 3/8. Really, really nice. I think that's pretty much all I have to say, and I probably said more than I needed to, but if this helps even one person to go ahead and be able to fill easier from ink vial to TWSBI Eco cheaply and easily, then I'll be happy. So y'all made my day. Thank you very much for watching, and keep those ideas coming. I really enjoy it. I enjoy testing ideas. I like to end up with what is going to be like a forever kind of technique to use and to make things easier. So I'll see you on the next video, and you take care. Bye for now.